All right. Well, I'm excited to have you all on tonight and just to welcome you to Healthy Living Revolution. And we're going to talk about really fueling our athletes and what do we do as parents to help our athletes and ourselves be as healthy as possible and perform as as well as possible. And we know that's super important. And so I'm excited to partner with Janice Gephardt. She's in Houston. I'm here in Kansas City. But we both work together as part of this Healthy Living Revolution community. And she'll get to share her story in a little bit, but it's fun. My husband has known her since they were in high school because they're both swimmers. And so, my background is I have my master's as a physical therapist. I'm a certified athletic trainer. My athletic career ended at the senior year of high school, but I was a state champion and I played volleyball, basketball, and track, but did not go on in college. But it's fun to Janice will share a little bit of her college story as an athlete. So we'll talk about that, but we're both very passionate about getting to inspire others to take their health seriously and to be able to have some simple tools along there. So I'm going to share my screen here. And there we go. Sorry, it takes just a minute. And if you're new to Zoom and you can't see the PowerPoint, let me know, but you can always slide the pictures of all of us that are on just over to the side or down to the bottom. And then you'll be able to see the pictures that we pull up as well. So like I said, we're all about inspiring healthy living and learning how, learning the things that we're going to teach you tonight can make a world of difference in our health. And so as part of the Healthy Living community, we have some free resources that right off the bat, I just really want to offer these out to you. So there's a lot more resources than we can share in the next 35 minutes. So write down healthylivingrevolution.com. And on there, you'll see we've got a cookbook, and each quarter we put a new cookbook up. These are downloadable. They're great recipes. They're done by moms, so they taste good, but they're super simple and easy to do, and the family likes them. That's a big check in my book. But also we have these Healthy Living Revolution webinars. And if you are somebody who likes to learn a little bit more or has an interest in gut health or cancer, or there's some great ones on there for athletes, you can go listen to experts across the country talk and do a short segment on that topic. So I encourage you to go check those out if you want to delve in and learn even more. And then there are even more resources on there, from a lot more cookbooks we have a Start Strong program for kids. We really want to help this next generation of kids to be as healthy as possible. And whether they're an athlete or maybe you're hopping on and your kids aren't doing sports, that's okay. This is about equipping you to help your kids or grandkids to start creating healthy habits from an early age. And so we have fun live events, depending on what area you're in. We have live events across the country. We have a lot of online accountability groups and support groups that way, as well as just getting personalized support along with these resources. So let's delve in and talk about some of the things that we're impacted with today. And I don't know about you, but unless you live in a bubble, environmental toxins around us, they're increasing, right? Pollution and water contaminants, pesticides, they're a lot more than we used to have. I'll turn 50 this year. And I know just in my lifetime, these things have really, really changed, right? And some of those things we don't have any control over. I can't control the air that I breathe when I walk outside my house. I can control the things that I put on my skin or in my hair. There are some of those things that we can make some good choices on. And the other thing that is really hard right now in our world is the food quality is decreasing. More than 50% of what Americans eat is processed. So if you think about what's in your diet every day, how many of these are you getting in? It's pretty easy to get these in. Unfortunately, if you're shopping, at the grocery store, these are preservatives, flavor enhancers, growth hormones, genetically modified foods, the list goes on and on. They're in our foods, right? So we have to be really diligent to try and keep those out of our diet. But I think the bottom part is super alarming to me. Broccoli could lose 50 to 80% of key nutrients before you purchase it. Well, I told you, I'm in Kansas City, so we get some things grown around us, but there's a lot of produce that does not get grown right around us. So if it's losing 50 to 80% before I purchase it, it's already traveled a ways to get to my grocery store, right? And then I don't know about you, but as a mom, I don't go to the grocery store every single day, right? So that broccoli that I bought 3 days ago is still in my fridge, or maybe even longer, if I'm honest, right? Like, so it's losing that nutrition daily as it sits in my fridge. And like I said, I'm not a mom that's going to the grocery store every single day. And if you are, I have a huge kudos to you, and I want you to tell me how you do it every day. But so that's something that, you know, we want to look at. What can we do, you know, with our food quality? But that's the reality around us right now. And so I'm going to turn it over to Janice, who's going to talk about fruits and vegetables and focusing us in on that.
Well, thanks, Kim. And so fruits and vegetables are important. And I think today people understand that. But what they don't understand is that up to 75% of diseases are preventable with good nutrition. So think about that. You know, if there was a pill you could take to prevent disease, you would take it. But it's easier. You know, it's fruits and vegetables in general. And I'll tell you, Kim, if you want to go to the next slide, and I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So as Kim said, I was a swimmer growing up, and I swam at the University of Missouri, and, you know, worked really, really hard at swimming. And I love talking to athletes today because, especially kids, I know that hard work that everyone puts in, you want it to pay off. But if you don't have the nutrients going in your body in order to repair and recover from all of that damage you're doing, you're actually, you know, by exercising, you're tearing your cells down so that they can build back healthier. But the only thing you have to build them back healthier is the nutrition you're giving your body. And fruits and vegetables are so important as a part of that nutrition. So when I was in high school, I, you know, swam very, very hard. I worked out hard, and swimming was important to me. If somebody would have told me to eat fruits and vegetables, I would have done it. But nobody told us to do that then. And honestly, I didn't grow up eating very many fruits and vegetables. And looking back, what I know now is that all of that hard work without the nutrients going into my body to repair, we're actually doing permanent damage to the proteins in my body, the proteins in my cells. And for me, they attacked hardest my upper respiratory system. So every year, twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, I would get a cold that would turn into bronchitis or pneumonia. And I would have that cough. I would get it usually the end of September, and I would be hacking, coughing all the way through December. And 1 year of school, I went to 2 days of school between Thanksgiving and Christmas because I was that sick. And I think back to all those days of missed practices because I was sick, how much faster would I have been, right? And all those practices where I was working so hard, but not getting the full benefit of them, you know, how much faster could I have gone? And then if you fast forward to the summer after my freshman year in college, I'm going to age myself a bit here, but my goal, it was the 1984 Olympics, and my goal was to make the Olympic trials. And 200 backstroke was my race, which that event takes it took me a little over 2 minutes. And I missed the Olympic trials by 2/100ths of a second. So, I mean, think about, that's like, you know, the blink of an eye, not even the blink of an eye. And I look back and think, if I would have eaten some fruits and vegetables once in a while, I have no doubt that I could have done that. But it's really bigger than that, because even after I stopped swimming, I would still get sick every fall and every spring. And, you know, working, I can remember one time in my young adult life when I was traveling a lot for work, I was out of town and I had pneumonia. It was horrible to have to fly home with pneumonia. But really, until I found a way to flood my body with fruits and vegetables. And it's amazing to me that once I was able to do that, I stopped getting sick. And my body could actually repair that damage that I had done so many years ago. That's the amazing thing about our bodies. If we feed them what they need, then they're going to take care of us and they're going to work the way they're supposed to. So that's why the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are just good for you. It's that they're so good for you, they literally could save your life. And we need 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day. Not just, like one day out of the month that we do really, really good and eat a whole lot of fruits and vegetables, but every day. And athletes need even more. They need more, like 16 to 18, because they're working so hard. They're demanding so much of their body that they need more nutrition. And you might be thinking, well, why? Why is that? There are lots of reasons. One is produce is picked before the nutrition fully develops. Look at those green bananas. That's what bananas look like usually when they get to the grocery store. And we have to pick them green. Farmers have to pick them green, because if they let them ripen on the vine and then shipped them halfway across the country, they'd be rotten by the time they got to the grocery store. So they do have some nutrients, but they don't have nearly as many as they would if they actually ripened on the vine. And like I said, they're transported thousands of miles. So every day after they're picked, they're losing nutrients. And 90% of us don't eat enough servings. We just don't. And we definitely don't get enough variety from the rainbow, because of the people that I talk to, even ones who do truly eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, they're eating the same 7 or 8 fruits and vegetables all the time. They don't get the variety of every single color. And I love talking about this. So oxidative stress is sort of a buzzword, as well as free radicals. And what happens, we breathe oxygen, and we need oxygen to survive. There's a small piece of that process of breathing in oxygen that creates oxidation. And that's oxidative stress. And what happens is that oxidative stress ages our cells faster than they need to. So if you think about, that's a normal byproduct of breathing, but then we add toxins and, a lower quality food supply and not enough fruits and vegetables and lots of stress. And for athletes, a lot of hard work on their bodies. And we get a lot of oxidation happening in our bodies. And that's aging of our cells. And so if you, I'm going to take you back to high school chemistry class for just a minute. I promise we won't stay there very long. But if you remember, molecules have electrons, and electrons like to travel in pairs. Well, and a free radical, which is oxidation, are molecules that are missing an electron. So what happens is that molecule is in your bloodstream and it bumps into a healthy cell and it steals an electron from that cell. So that new cell is then a free radical. And so it bumps into a cell and steals an electron. So you just have this chain reaction of free radicals occurring inside your body. But why we need fruits and vegetables is that they have antioxidants. And antioxidants are molecules with an extra electron. So an antioxidant bumps into a free radical, gives it its extra electron, and then they're both neutralized. And that free radical isn't going to do more damage inside your body. And like I said, that damage that it does is actually aging. And I don't think anybody wants to age any faster than they have to. But where that aging occurs the most, where it concentrates, that's where your genetics come into play. So if you have, for instance, I have a lot of cancer in my family, so that oxidation might congregate in my DNA. which could eventually turn into cancer. If you have heart disease in your family, it's probably happening in your cardiovascular system. So everybody's different, but the great news is that we can control that. We can reduce that oxidation that's happening by eating a lot of antioxidants. And antioxidants come in the form of fresh, raw fruits and vegetables. And if you look at this apple, if you were to cut an apple in half and let it sit out on the counter, you can actually see the oxidation. It turns brown and gets wrinkly and it looks old. That's the oxidation, that's the aging. But if you cut it in half and sprinkle lemon juice on it, it doesn't age. That lemon juice has, excuse me, has antioxidants so that it protects that apple from those free radicals. And that's what happens inside of our body when we eat a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Thank you, Janice. And I love learning that. I love to learn. And I told you at the beginning, I'm a physical therapist and athletic trainer. And so I love to understand the why behind what's going on in our bodies. And I'm going to share with you, I partnered with the Juice Plus company 16 years ago because I love their mission of inspiring healthy living. And we have a few simple tools. We'll talk through those tonight. And this is the first one that provides a solution for families who want more produce. And if you have not seen a Terra Garden, it's a vertical aeroponic way to grow your own produce. You can grow it inside or outside. I have one growing downstairs 365 days a year. And I love that because I can go pick fresh produce off, have it throw in my smoothie, throw some fresh greens in my smoothie in the morning or have a salad in the evening. It uses less than 98% of the water and less than 90% of the space that would take to grow traditional gardening. And I love it because it's very nutrient dense. It's getting all of the nutrition that it needs more than it would out in my backyard. And so that's one of the solutions that we have. We want to help come alongside people and help you, to have a better quality of life. How I got introduced to the company 21 years ago was through the Juice Plus store. And I love this because as a mom, when I found out that I could get 30 fruits and vegetables and berries in a capsule for my husband and I and in a gummy for my 1-year-old, I thought it was a no-brainer. I was like, sign me up. This is like Jetson food. Maybe everybody on the call hopefully is as old as I am, or maybe remembers the Jetsons. I was like, it's Jetson food, right? And I love this. Juice Plus, if you're not familiar with it, it's just concentrated whole food, but they get harvested so the peak of ripeness. So as Janice talked about earlier, most of that nutrition comes at the end of the growing process. So with the fruits and vegetables that go in Juice Plus, they are fully vine ripened. So you get all of that nutrition. It's juiced down, dried into powders at low temperatures, so it preserves the nutrition. Those live enzymes are still in the capsules. And then they put it into a capsule or chewable. And we also have a full spectrum omega blend, which would replace like a fish oil, right? Like this omegas actually come from plants, not from fish. I did not know that until a few years ago. And so we want those benefits of omegas for skin health, brain health, eye health, joint health, but we can get those without the toxins of fish and it's much more sustainable. And so let me share with you this and just look at this picture and think about when is the last time that you ate all of these things on this picture? Or when's the last time you ate some of those things on this picture? I won't make you guys say how many servings of fruits and vegetables you've had, but if you were with me in person, I would. How many of you had today? Just kind of think back through your day now that we're at the end of the day. And think about how many servings are you typically getting in? I know we've calculated this and recorded this in my family, and we really work on eating healthy, and it's still hard to get 7 or 8 servings a day. And we're supposed to get that 7 to 13, and if for these athletes, 16 to 18 servings, that's a lot. And so I love that I can get beets and broccoli and kale and cabbage and parsley in my diet and in my family's diet every single day. But this is what made sense to me 21 years ago when my friend told me about Juice Plus, is that I'm going to actually just show you these pictures because I love this. So if you look at all of the things over here on whatever side that is, your right side, that lists just 400 of the over 10,000 phytonutrients that are working in synergy in an apple. So when your grandmother said an apple a day keeps the doctor away, although they didn't understand the science back then, it's so true. And a lot of people will, will try and fill the gaps in our diet. Honestly, if you ask everybody, is there some gaps in our diet? I think 99% of us would go, yeah, we know there's some gaps. And so 70% of Americans try and fill that with a multivitamin. Well, if you look at the label over here, this is a vitamin label, it's a supplement label, and it just has a few pieces and parts of what's really in that whole apple, okay? Just a few isolated nutrients. And research also shows that those isolated vitamins may do more harm than good. I don't know about you, but I want to make sure that what I'm giving my family is as good as can possibly get. And so when I saw this 21 years ago, like I said, it was a no-brainer. I wanted the food. I wanted that whole food in our family's diet. And I really had no expectation of what it was going to do for my family. I just thought, having a 1-year-old, it seemed really easy to get her to get all of that nutrition into a gummy. But fast forward 21 years and we are healthier now than we were back then. And I say that because at 1, Kristen was diagnosed with allergy-induced asthma. She graduated high school running cross country and playing soccer, the 2 endurance sports she would never have been able to do if she still was bothered by the symptoms of that asthma. She still has it, but she doesn't have any of the symptoms, and we have not had to put all of that medicine in her body for the last 20 years, or 21 years. She just turned 22. I love that as a mom, because not only has it saved us a lot of money, but it also gave her great quality of life and great experiences through high school and through college now. Brad, my husband, lived on Sudafed, miserable every fall with Kansas allergies. He'd get 5 or 6 sinus infections a year. Those are eliminated. Somewhere in that first year of starting on Juice Plus, he has never had to go back on the allergy meds. He rarely gets a sinus infection at all. And when Janice read that slide before, it really hits home with me. The fruits and vegetables, not only are they really important for us, but they're so important they could save our lives. Well, that's an experience that my family had. Brad got a life-threatening staph infection right up here in the septum of his nose about 8 years ago, which a lot of people don't make that. They don't, make it through that. In fact, the doctor that did his emergency surgery told him the next day, he said, people that don't have a good immune system, they don't survive. Like, that's just the reality. And we've been on Juice Plus 13 years at that point. And I realized all of those things, and the allergies and the sinus infections and the no more Tums, those things I just thought were not that big of a deal. They were a big deal because it was showing that his immune system was working like it was supposed to, and he could fight off that life-threatening staph infection. And, he's a swimmer too. He was still swimming. He's a Masters national champion. He was swimming competitively, so he had the fitness part in, but we'd worked on that nutrition part, and it played a huge key piece in him still being with us today. So I'm forever grateful for, learning this information and being able to pay it forward. So what's really unique about Juice Plus? It's food. It's not a vitamin or a supplement. It's a food label. And if I showed you the bottle right now, like you see, it's a nutrition label just like you'd find in the grocery store. It's vegan, it's kosher, it's dairy-free and gluten-free. Cool thing is it's NSF certified. So that means what's on the label is exactly what's in it, which should be a no-brainer, but unfortunately it's not in our world today. So it's important that it has that NSF certification. And we have a lot of professional Olympic athletes that take Juice Plus, collegiate athletes. So it's also NSF for sports certified, so that they know if they're getting drug tested, they know this is a clean product. And then it's the most researched brand name nutritional product in the world. As a healthcare professional, I love this part because it totally backs up all of the things that I see people experience. It's backed up by the research. And I'm going to turn it over to Janice and let her talk about this research just a little bit.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about my background. So my degree from school is in electrical engineering, and I'm a geek at heart. And when I first heard about Juice Plus, I just thought it was a vitamin. And I was super, super skeptical for many, many years. And once I understood there was really research on it and what the research showed, it got my attention, because I'm a give me the science, like give me the facts kind of person. And so our research, all of these, universities and major medical centers have done research on Juice Plus, and they wouldn't spend their time. They wouldn't look at Juice Plus and actually perform research if it wasn't all that. And the research is really gold standard research. So that means it's placebo controlled. So one group has a placebo, the other group does not. It's double blind. So that means not only do the people who are in the research, they don't know if they're in the real, Juice Plus group or if they're in the placebo group, but the researchers don't know. So it's double blind. The people, the participants and the researchers don't know who's in what group, and it's randomized. So a computer generates who's going to be in which group. All of our research includes human beings taking Juice Plus. So it's not as saying, oh, well, Juice Plus has apples and apples are known to do this, so Juice Plus should do that. That's not the way it works, because that's not an equivalent, test. So our research has human beings taking Juice Plus, and they're all published in peer-reviewed journals. Those are the journals that the doctors read. And the journals have a medical board or a research board who approves any research that goes into that. So to be published in a journal, the research has to be credible. It has to be well done, credible, and it has to have an impact score that shows that if you were to do this again, you would get similar results. So our research has all of that. And here are the results. It contributes to cardiovascular wellness, and literally we could spend an hour and I could bore you to death with the cardiovascular studies, but it's fascinating to me. But if you think about it, the way you get nutrition to every cell in your body is through your bloodstream. So you want your blood, you want your cardiovascular system to be working as well as it can. And Juice Plus does that. So it supports a healthy inflammatory response. So if you have inflammation, people with things like arthritis and tendinitis and anything that ends in itis means there's inflammation. And we have actual research proving that Juice Plus reduces that inflammation. It supports quality of life. That was in a study done at MD Anderson here where I am in Houston on ovarian cancer survivors. It supports healthy cholesterol, LDL, and triglyceride metabolism, supports healthy lung function. So this is incredible. People who are heavy smokers and that are gonna continue to be heavy smokers, I would never recommend anybody smoke, but for those people who do and don't wanna quit or can't quit or whatever, people who continued to smoke saw improvement in their lung function when they took Juice Plus. So that's crazy. Even though they continued to smoke, their lung function improved. And I'll tell you, that's why I buy Juice. My brother is a smoker and he will not give it up. And I send him Juice Plus because I don't want him to end up the way most smokers do. It supports healthy skin and gums. It supports the immune system. And my daughter Haley, who is a sophomore in college, last year as a freshman, she's taken Juice Plus her whole life. I mean, literally, she was about 1.5 years old when we started taking it. And she called me. She, went off to college, was staying up too late, under a lot of stress, not eating well. And she got a sore throat and a fever. And she called me one day and she was baffled. She's like, "Mom, I don't know what's going on. I'm hot, I'm sweating, but I'm like shivering, I'm cold." And she's describing a sore throat and a fever. And it occurred to me, she didn't know what to call it because she had never had a sore throat and a fever, and she was 18. So it definitely supports the immune system. It helps maintain healthy DNA. It reduces oxidative stress. That's what we talked about at the beginning. That oxidation that's happening in your body. and it's absorbed by the body. And Dr. Richard Du Bois says there's nothing else available any place in the world with or without a prescription that's been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus can do. And one specific study I want to talk about is a study done on the cobras. This is in Graz, Austria. Their cobras are similar to our Navy SEALs. And so we did a study, or it was done with them, and it was over 7 months. So think about a typical sports season. That's a pretty normal time frame for a sports season. And what they showed, this is a little confusing when you first look at it, but at the, okay, the blue line is baseline. So they're actually measuring the oxidative stress that happens when you exercise. So at baseline, at week 0, before they exercised, there was very little oxidative stress going on in their body. But then the blue line and the green line are going to show you the placebo group and the Juice Plus group at week 28. So at the very end of the study, because you want to compare that oxidative stress to their baseline. And you can see that at the end of the study, the group that was on a placebo, they're starting off with oxidative stress. Their body has not recovered from yesterday's workout. It really hasn't recovered from last week's workout and last month's workout. But the group taking Juice Plus, even at 28 weeks, even 7 months down the road, they have completely recovered and they're back to the baseline level. And then immediately after exercise, at baseline, you know, when they first started the study, there was some oxidative stress right after exercise. And then if you look at the red group there, that's the placebo group, their oxidative stress is going sky high after they exercise. The Juice Plus group, even at the end of the study after they exercise, that oxidative stress is maintained at a lower level. And then 30 minutes after exercise, if you look at that red bar, it's still going higher. So in that 30 minutes after they've stopped exercising, there's still oxidative stress is occurring. And that's what leads to delayed onset muscle soreness. So sometimes when you work out, it's not the next day that you're sore, but 2 days later. If that's the case, that's a sign that you don't have the nutrients in your body to recover from that exercise. So that's what's going on with this group. And then 30 hours after exercise, you can see that that placebo group, their oxidative stress still hasn't gone down. There's damage, permanent damage going on inside their muscle tissue. And with Juice Plus, it always comes back down. And my daughter, Casey, who is now 22, when she was a diver, a platform diver, like 10-meter, diving. And when she was in high school, we would go to nationals. And she was literally the only kid on the 10-meter tower that wasn't taped up. All the other kids had their wrists taped, and they would have K-tape on their shoulders. And the reason for that is when they hit the water at about 30 miles an hour off of the 10-meter tower, and all of that stress is on their wrists and their shoulders. And so those kids, were having overuse injuries because their bodies weren't recovering from all of that strain. Well, my daughter never had her wrists taped. She never had K-tape on her shoulders. She didn't have issues with that. And I always thought it was because she had Juice Plus her whole life. We've taken it since she was 4. And, but I could never really prove that until she went to college. And she went through a phase for a couple of years where she thought she was smarter than her mom. And so even though I sent Juice Plus with her to college, she wasn't taking it. And she came home at Christmas her freshman year and was telling me how her wrist hurt. She had inflammation developing in her wrists. And then that year in the spring at their ACC championships, I went to the meet and she walked out on the pool deck and she has her wrist taped and she has K-tape on her shoulders. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? Take your Juice Plus. And I actually, my son was a Division II tennis player in college also. And he has taken Juice Plus his whole life and he went his whole career without injuries. And that's so rare in athletes to go an entire career all the way through the college level without injuries. And I absolutely believe, and this study proves to us, that they had the nutrition from Juice Plus in their bodies to repair and recover. So, Kim, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you. And the stories are amazing, and it makes me think of Brad's story. I'll wrap this up here in just a couple of minutes. But he like Janice, he was competing in the junior backstroke for Olympic trials. He went to trials in 80 and 84 both, and but that was the event he swam in the trials. But before 9 months before trials, for the 84 trials, he was hopping on the plane to go to nationals, and he got the call from the doctor. He would get run down every year. He got the call from the doctor. Instead of just giving him some medicine, they're like, you're not going on the plane, you're not going to nationals, you have mono, you're staying home and you're recuperating. Well, that took him out for base training, 3 or 4 months of that base training leading into Olympic trials that year, senior year of college. And he said at the 150 mark he was in great shape, but he didn't have the stamina to bring it home and to finish that 200 backstroke. And so his chance for the Olympic team ended. And he, part of that regret is going, oh my gosh, had my nutrition been different, maybe things could have been different. And I know Janice shared her story, similar stories that, man, nutrition played a key piece of them maybe not hitting the goals that they were capable of hitting. And so we want to make sure that, athletes that we talk to now are really focusing in on that nutrition piece so that they don't have to go through some of that disappointment, based on the fact that they're not fueled well enough. And I love this. This is a quote from Brittany. She's part of the United States Women's National Volleyball Team. Whatever that hard thing is, you have to run right at it. And we know our athletes are working hard. We know they're giving it all at practice. And the women's, or the National Volleyball Association, has partnered with us. We're their official nutritional support. And I love that they're seeing that not only do we need to practice and play hard, but we also need to fuel hard and protect our bodies and give them the chance to perform well. And so the last thing that I'm going to share with you as far as the tools that we have is our Juice Plus Complete Shakes. And I love this. It is a staple in our diet every single day because it's the most nutrient dense meal that I get all day. It's vegan, it's made non-GMO ingredients, it's gluten and dairy free. It's 13 grams of plant-based protein and 8 grams of fiber. So protein and fiber, we could do a whole nother talk about the importance of those. But the thing for me that I love too is it's low glycemic. And I used to get the hangries, and this has really stabilized my blood sugars, and I love that, so that I get through the day very happy and content. But look at some of those foods that are in there. Again, this is a nutrition label, it's not a supplement label. I don't get those foods in my diet every day. And I love this because a lot of times people go, oh, I'm a little concerned about soy, so tell me about soy. And it really depends on the source. The whole soybean, minimally processed, like it's found in our Complete, provides the best and most balanced defense against disease. And that's coming from an oncology dietitian. So I love that I can get good plant-based food in my body every day. And I know when Brad competes on an all-day swim meet, this is what, he'll just take this and shake it up with some plant-based milk so he gets fuel. Because if you're doing, whether it's swimming or volleyball or whatever other sports are on here, I'm not sure. But, when you've got lots of competitions, you need good fuel all day long. but you can't have a lot of heavy food sitting in your stomach that your body has to spend its energy digesting instead of being able to have the energy out to the muscle so it can perform. And so this is a really key piece for our athletes to be able to get that nutrition in and that good, clean fuel. So at the end of the day, I get to flood my family with 45 superfoods, all of these plant foods going in our bodies every single day. And this last piece I'm going to show you on the research, this is our subjective study, but we have a Healthy Starts for families. And so if you're an adult, somebody over 18, you can sponsor a child ages 4 through 18 or a college student to receive some Juice Plus free. And all that we ask is that you do a survey, occasional surveys for us. But this is so cool that when we add Juice Plus to a family's diet, these are some of the things that we're seeing. And there's even more, but here's just a few that, missing fewer days of school and work, 71% drinking more water, 66% visiting the doctor less often, 71% consuming less fast food and soft drinks. So not only are we adding Juice Plus in, but we see Juice Plus as a catalyst for people to make better choices, right? They're feeling a little bit better, so now they can make even better choices. And that's super important for not only for our performance, but for long-term learned health. And so as I wrap us up tonight, I want you to just think about, what is it for you? Where do you want to see yourself? Where do you want to see your athletes, your kids, your husband, for their health and for their performance? And so we just invite you to join our mission of inspiring healthy living around the world. And that might look different for all of us. For some, you may go, gosh, I just want to take advantage of those free resources that you shared at the beginning. We've got those there because we really are about making sure that we inspire healthy living and that we equip you with that. Some of you may go, gosh, let me just add in Juice Plus. That's one simple thing that I can do. I saw that research and, how it reduces the oxidative stress in our bodies, and with our athletes, that's so important. That's a critical piece. So you can add that in. Others may go, gosh, I want to do that and make some other healthy changes. And we encourage you to make as many healthy changes as you want. We've got some other things that will help you in that way. And then others may be sitting here going, gosh, I'm thinking of a few people that this makes sense, and I would love to learn a little bit more about the company behind Juice Plus and this healthy living revolution movement. And I want to learn a little bit more. Maybe I can make an impact in those people around us. And so we just want to encourage you, and I want to see your faces. We just want to encourage you to take that next step towards better health. And ask the person who invited you onto this call for some more information. I'll stay on, and if Janice can, for a couple minutes after this to answer any other questions for you guys tonight. But we just really want and hope that we've inspired you and equipped you to be able to take care of yourselves, but also the athletes and people that you care about. So I'm going to stop our recording here.